Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Gloria and I am a full-time reseller on Poshmark, eBay, Depop, and Mercari, and I want to talk about my September recap. So I will be covering my top 20 sales for the month. I will be going over my gross profit, my net profit, my cost of goods, if I had any returns, how many items sold, how many items listed, and I will be talking about a summary of each platform as well. All right, so first we are actually going to be covering my top 20 sales first, and the first thing is actually from a brand called 𝕃𝕀ℕ𝕂𝕊. Now this one is actually not my highest sale for like being a reseller, but this one sold at $250. This was also my full asking price. I didn't have to send any offers, and honestly, I thought I priced this perfectly, very competitively. The sold price ranged around the price point that I actually sold mine at, and I did get this from the bin, so I'm really thrilled about that. All of these items that you see in this video, I purchased at the Goodwill outlet here in Dallas, Texas. So just keep that in mind that my cost of goods was under $2. I did have this one stored away until the wintertime got here. I finally listed it and it sold within 2 hours of me listing it. So if you ever come across this brand, 𝕃𝕀ℕ𝕂𝕊, I would highly suggest you pick it up because it's going to do really well. Of course, I probably could have held out for over $1,000, but I kind of didn't want to. I was happy with the $2 input to get a $250 return. So definitely love that sale. The next one was also pretty shocking. At the time, I was heavily watching The Sopranos, and I saw this piece at the bins, and I was just like, wow, this really looks like something that Angela will wear. And I'm just like, it is so cute. Like, this is perfect. It has like this gold hardware on the back. So I showed the back of it instead of the front of it because I just felt like the front was pretty boring, but the back was open and it had the gold chain links on it. And I was pretty like nervous with the price point because I'm like, I don't want to price it too high to where it doesn't sell, but I also don't want to price it too low. So I felt that $180 I was really comfortable at, and I sent out offers. My Nifty bot sends offers for me, and they sent them a $140 offer and they accepted it. So this was a really good sale. So the brand is called 𝕃𝕀ℕ𝕂𝕊, which I do know is a designer brand, so that's why I priced it high. But yeah, definitely let me know if you ever sold this brand before and did you get a lot of money for it. All right, the next one is actually this Jenny Kane sweater. I was flabbergasted. So I think the only reason why this was left behind in a picked over bin is because it had a dry cleaner like staple to the tag part, and I think that's why it was missed, because one of my viewers actually told me on Instagram that they actually found quite a few Jenny Kane on this specific day because I did take to my Instagram to talk about me finding this at the bins. But yeah, amazing piece. It was 100% cashmere. I just knew that this was going to perform well, so I did price it up and I received a very modest offer of $120, and I felt very comfortable accepting it, so was really happy with that sale. The next one is from a brand called Free City. Now this is actually a brand that I sold a few years ago. I believe I found out about this brand from another YouTuber. Wow, why is it a blank? Wow. Anyways, I believe I heard her talk about it, and when I found the first piece, I was so excited. That one sold for a decent amount. This one also sold for a decent amount at $113. The brand doesn't look like much, but it's kind of similar to like an Aviator Nation. I've had luck with their sweaters and their joggers, so definitely a great brand. And if you can find it in a good size and in a good style, highly suggest you pick it up because you'll be able to price it much higher. Now we're dropping under $100. Those other ones were really exciting, but now we are under the 100 mark limit. This one was a brand called 𝕃𝕂𝕂𝕂. I did talk about this brand in my video where I deep dive, like lag and look, or not even deep dive, but just dived on the word lag and look that you can use. And this is one of the brands that I recently found and I talked about in that video. I will have that link down below if you are interested, but this was the item and I did price this at $80, and I wanted to sell it for about $60, $70. This person sent me a offer and I accepted it. I think they sent me an offer in the messages and then I dropped the price down just because I had noticed that it did have attention on Poshmark, but nobody shot their shot. That's something that I'm pretty big on when it comes to like those seasonality pieces. If nobody shot their shot and I've had it up for a month or 2 or 3 months or whatever, the season is kind of closing out, I will be a little bit more proactive in accepting the lower offer. So this one did pretty well. This next one is from a brand that I feel like is a quiet brand. It's called Sozy, Soft and Cozy. Their fabric is no different from like Modal. Like it's very stretchy and casual and lounge worthy. But yeah, so this one did sell for $52. This was like maybe a 2-day flip, so a really quick turnaround. The next one was an item that I actually sold in August, and then she lied, and then item came back, and then I just relisted it, and this one ended up selling for $10 more from what I sold it for previously. So I guess that kind of worked out that it did come back because I did get an additional $10. But yeah, this is just a cute little robe. 𝕃𝕀ℕ𝕂 is definitely a great brand as well. When I see it, I pick it up. I pick up their matching sets, their robes, just pretty much anything from the brand because it performs well. The next one was a new to me brand that I found at the bins. The tacked on tag is what really drew me in, and like the fabric just felt really like high quality. So I looked into the brand. I'm like, oh, this is a great brand. I didn't price this one high. I just wanted to get it in a window of it's actually selling. So I priced this one, I want to say like at $65. They sent me a $50 offer, and I was like, absolutely, like that's exactly what I wanted for it. The next one is a Free People dress. I found this at the bins, new with tags. I thought that the colorway was perfect for fall. I did list it a little bit before fall because I felt like maybe somebody would still want to wear it in the summertime, even though the colors are like, you know, super vibrant. They're more muted and subtle, but this one ended up selling for the $48. I think they sent me an offer, if I'm not mistaken. I have a hard time when it comes to Free People because I know some pieces can go for like a really high amount, but I do recognize that not all pieces. So I consider the style, I consider the size, and this just felt more of a $50 to $60 flip, but you know, 48 is not terrible. The next one was an Eileen Fisher piece. This was plus size, and I was pretty happy that it was a really good fabric. I've been finding Eileen Fisher a lot lately, and I try to stick to like those higher quality fabrics like silk or cashmere and things like that, because I feel like they perform a lot better than the other pieces like linen and stuff like that. But anyways, this one was a plus size. I thought the colorway was great. It was actually in amazing condition, and I did feel comfortable with pricing this higher than I typically would an Eileen Fisher piece, and it actually sold for my full asking price. So definitely a really good piece. This one was a brand that I had recently found, I want to say like over a year ago, and I had noticed that the sell-through rate was really good for me, but it was specifically a size extra large. The extra large had like 100% sell-through rate, but the other sizes can still sell. They just won't sell as quickly as an extra large. And of course, those were comps that I checked over a year ago, so it may be different now. So you definitely always want to go in and check the sell-through rate. But this one was a size small. This one was more of a like a cotton feel instead of like that modal feel. And this was a 2-piece set. So I'm just kind of like, okay, what I feel comfortable with, and $40 is what I felt comfortable with. So I did price this at like maybe $58, and this one did sell for $48. So all right, this is a men's J. Crew like cardigan situation. J. Crew is one of those brands where it is like, I don't even want to say it's a hit or miss because it's mostly a hit if you pick up like the correct pieces. This was definitely a correct piece. It was J. Crew, and it was kind of like a chore style, kind of grandpa-y. It was cardigan, it was lamb's wool, so it had a lot of factors going for it. So I did price this one, I want to say at like $48 because I expected to get about 40. They sent me a $43 offer, and I'm like, that is just super modest, and I accepted it. So yeah, definitely a great piece. I highly suggest you look into men's cardigans. I feel like J. Crew adds another factor to it, and then if it has like a really good fabric to it, that also will make it more sellable. So just keep that in mind. All right, the next one is actually this icebreaker jacket or sweater situation. I found this, of course, at the bins like everything else. But this one had quite a few like flaws. There were no holes, but it was like bleach staining on it. So I initially was like, you know what, I'm just going to keep it myself. But then I'm just like, no, I think I can make some type of money off of it, because a lot of these like wool brands, they can still perform even with holes and flaws to them. So I just listed it, and I just hope for the best. But it did sell for my offer to likers price of $43. $5. So love that. The next one is this quince cashmere sweater. This was a piece that I went back and forth on wanting to keep for myself, because I'm not going to lie, I feel like this fall and winter, I'm going to want to wear like higher quality fabrics, but I decided to go ahead and list this one because it was in excellent condition. And this one did take, I want to say, a little over a month to sell, because I did start to list my like fall pieces in the middle of July. Not a lot, but just like slowly but surely in July. So that one didn't take long. This one was very interesting because a few years ago, Unif was like a really like sought after brand. The girls loved it, and I was hoping to find it one day. I finally found it at the bins. I thought this was just a cute little top. Initially, I was just like, oh, I already know how I'm going to sell this. This has a lot of style-based features. Next thing I know, I looked into the brand Unif, and I'm like, oh, the brand does great. So I'm going to go ahead and get this. And when it came time for me to actually list it, because when it comes to like items with like good brands to it, I do like to do like very quick research just to make sure I'm pricing mine correctly. So I was able to find the name of this item, and I was able to like pinpoint that this was like a rare piece. I couldn't find my color. Like, this is just black. The rare piece was actually purple, I want to say, because it was worn by someone. So I just made sure that I plugged in the right keywords, which are keywords that I heavily learned from the Resellers Edge University. So I do want to pop in and briefly talk about the Resellers Edge University. They are a mentorship group for all resellers, be that if you are a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. They're going to help you grow your business. In the group, you'll learn information like how to manage your business, how to market items, how to source out of your comfort zone, and just how to grow as a business owner. They do provide modules and spreadsheets that'll help you stay aligned in your business. So if you are a person that just needs a little bit more attentiveness to like your bookkeeping or anything like that, they will help you. If you just need help with probably learning about how eBay works or how Depop works, they have videos for that. So if you are pretty much kind of going in a way of like, I want to expand my business and work on other platforms, they have modules for that. The group is actually very community based, which I do love. They not only have a website on Kajabi, but they also have a Facebook marketplace, like, you know, group. And that one is really in your pocket, where you can just quickly ask them a question like, hey, what do you guys think of this piece? Do you think that I should list it at this price, or do you guys think that I should list it at that price? What are some of the keywords you think I should add in? Additionally, is this a really good way to market this item? Like, it's very, very, very helpful in that way. Some people do pop in and show like new bolos. And of course, with bolos, the group also has like this ongoing list of bolos. The best part is that they do provide daily live calls. So you're going to be getting a call every single day. Now, if you are anything like me, where you're a busy girl and you can't kind of pop into those live calls, they have replays. So you'll be able to come back and watch it whenever you're ready. When I'm in my photographing stage, that is when I pop it on my computer and I just listen to them while I work. So I do love that aspect of it, because you can learn and you don't have to just sit there and be on the computer. But if you are a person that can, you know, work whatever time works for you and you're able to watch the live calls, they're always available every single day. So if you are interested in joining Resellers Edge University, I will have a 50% off code link down below. Great brand. If you see it, pick it up. Of course, look more into it, but I think at the very least, if it's a bins flip, you'll still get over $20 for it. But that was a pretty good one. The next one is a brand called 𝕃𝕀ℕ𝕂𝕊. I've picked up this brand plenty of times. This was definitely a great piece, mainly because this was a velour piece. So that is a really good fabric moving into fall. This colorway was great. It was new with tags, and it was a larger size. So it had all of the factors. I didn't want to price it too high and then it sit around. So I priced it very competitively at $48. They came in and sent me a $40 offer, and I accepted it. So love that. This was a new to me brand. I've actually never found this brand before. The tag just looked like it was worth a little bit of money. So I'm like, let me just look into it. Come to find out, this is just kind of like a really good high-end brand. It's called Orly Bar Brown. And I didn't price this one high only because we were moving out of summer. And like I said before, I'm very big on seasonality. So when I have to list anything that is not pertaining to that month or moving into that month, I know that I can't get top dollar for it. So I priced this, I want to say like at $55. They sent me a $40 offer. I, of course, accepted it because, like I said, we were moving out of summer. So this was a short sleeve terry cloth item. And yeah, I was pretty happy with the very fast turnaround on that piece. The next one is this 𝕃𝕀ℕ𝕂𝕊. I probably shouldn't have added this just because it's a bundle. Anyways, but I still included this one because this is just a really decent brand to pick up. I would only pick it up at the bins, honestly, because I feel like it only sells for about $15 to $20. I intentionally wanted to bundle these. I could have sold them separately, but I just kind of noticed a trend that I was selling them for like $15 or $18. So I'm just like, you know what, let me just go ahead and bundle them so I can get both of them out the door at the same time, since they are the same size. So this one also didn't take long to sell, and it sold for $40. So pretty good one. This is another style-based piece. So I actually sourced this one in the summertime, and I felt like I'm not going to list this now. And I had it out maybe like a month ago, and it just had so much like fuzz on it because it is a wool piece, and I'm just like, oh no, I'm just not going to be able to deal with this. So I put it back in my bin of items to list later, and I brought it back out, and this one sold in 2 days. I was really happy with it, and I knew when I picked it up, like I already knew the keywords that I plan on using. This was giving everything the girls wanted, and it just was a really hot piece. So I, of course, priced it pretty high, and this one did sell for a decent amount. Next one, and the last one, is a brand called 𝕃𝕀ℕ𝕂𝕊. So I have to make, I'm happy that this made it to the list because I picked up 3 of these in the summertime. So I found this one, which was new with tags. And then I'm like, let me just look into the brand. So I quickly looked into the brand in the summertime. And since y'all know eBay shows you 3 months prior, I looked at those numbers and I'm like, oh, okay, this is a decent brand. And at the time it was selling for $30, $40, moving out of like, you know, the season. So I'm just like, okay, this is good. So I grabbed all 3 of them because I went back because I first came across them, but I'm like, nah. So once I seen this one new with tags, I'm like, oh, let me go grab the other ones. I grabbed the other ones and I waited, and I listed these, I want to say maybe a little under a month ago. And next thing I know, hotcakes. The first couple of people was sending me like lower offers on eBay that kept like messaging me like, hey, could you do 20 for this? And I already did my research, so I know that these could go for over $30. So I'm just like, absolutely not. So what I want to make note of is that all 3 of them sold, of course, separately. I did not bundle them. They all sold separately, but they sold on Mercari specifically. So if you come across this brand, I'll make sure I pop the tag on the screen. If you come across this brand, make sure you get it listed on Mercari. I'm sure you can get it listed on all of them because I did notice attention on all of them on my platforms, but specifically Mercari, all 3 of them sold. Like very, very, very fast turnaround. And that is it for my top 20 sales. So now we move on to all of my numbers because I know that's why a lot of y'all are here, because y'all nosy just like how I am. So I don't blame y'all. All right. So September recap for the month. I'm sure I already put it in the title or the thumbnail because I couldn't believe it, y'all. So these are my numbers solely for my reselling business. This does not include YouTube, affiliates, none of that. This is only from all of these clothes up in here, okay? I made, okay, with the help of all of those $100 sales, I made a gross profit of $7,245.83. My net profit was $5,689.29. But the cost of goods was $375.44. Now, those cost of goods are for the items that actually sold. My cost of goods for the month of me purchasing new inventory looks a lot different from the number that actually sold. So just want to make a note of that. As far as returns, y'all would not believe this, but I had none. I did have a return request, okay, but they never shipped it back. They put in a return request saying that they bought the item by mistake. Now, I knew I wasn't tripping because it was a formal gown, and I feel like that you have to be very, careful with formal gowns on eBay specifically. But they put in a return request said that they bought it by mistake. So I went in and I looked at our messages because I'm like, I know I sold multiple escape dresses last month, but I wasn't sure if it was from the right buyer because I sold actually 3 of them in total for the month of August. I sold 2 on eBay and then 1 on Poshmark. So this was on eBay, of course. So I went in and I looked at our messages and I noticed that we were going back and forth in the messages because they wanted me to ship it out to them immediately. Like they paid $44 for overnight shipping. So you didn't buy it by mistake. You wore it and you thought you were gonna, get a refund on it. So I don't know how the back end works. I don't know if eBay was probably gonna try to charge them a lot on the back end, and that's why they didn't ship it back. I wouldn't see why they would do that, but they ended up not shipping it back. So eBay closed the whole ticket, which I was really happy for, because I'm like, I know for a fact you wore it because it's been 3 weeks, like, you know, so it is what it is. But anyways, moving on, I sold 269 items. So I sold 269 units. I don't know how many bundles I actually had. Newly listed items for the month of September, I listed 340 items. The number threw me off because logically I'm going off of, if I am, you know, listing 20 items 4 days a week, that should be 80 items a week. So why am I not at 320? And it's because September kind of had like an additional week started, and I listed on Tuesday. So that's why I have an additional 20 items instead of the 320. But realistically, I am supposed to be listing 320 items, not 340. But yeah, so when it comes to Poshmark, I don't know when, but at some point I actually went in and brought my offer to likers down. And I'm wondering, did I do that when I first started Nifty? Because I feel like it used to be 25% that I would send out to offers to likers. And then I dropped it to 20. And I believe it stayed at 20. But then I realized, like, wait, I am listing this item at this price point, and then I send them out a immediate offer, and then they counter for something much lower. So I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't give them such a steep like first offer. So I'm like, okay, well, let me do 15%. And I think that was working. But then I'm just kind of like, why don't I just do 10%? So I did 10%, which is laughable, but I did 10%, and I couldn't for the life of me understand why my sales had like declined so bad on Poshmark. Then I'm like, wait a minute, I went down to 10%. So now I think now I'm back up to 15%. 15% looks like a better deal than 10%. Even though I price my items, you know, correctly, you know, people still need that extra push. So that was the only thing different on Poshmark. As far as eBay, I still send out 10% off offers because I am doing 5% promotion, and I just needed that to balance out, because I just didn't want to be giving eBay so much. They're already taking so much because I am not in the top rated, you know, status. So I just got to be real mindful with my percentages that I'm already giving eBay, because I think they already take like a collective 15%. So they're getting, well, they're not technically getting that 10%, but they're getting about 20% from me each month. So I did run a 30% off sale on eBay for like the last couple of days of September, and only did that because I noticed how dry Poshmark was, and I felt like I just wanted to make up for it on eBay, which I'm very thankful for. So as much as I talk shit about eBay, eBay does come in clutch with the marketing aspect of it. So I ran a 30% off sale, and I think I made over $500 from that. So I'm not really sure how much I would have made had I not ran the sale, but I did get rid of a lot of like low hanging fruit. My business does thrive off of low hanging fruit. But I feel like as a collective, I was pretty much happy with the sale outcome. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, I don't think I would do 30% again, because I was cringing at some of the numbers coming in as far as like, oh, this sold for $12, this sold for $15. So I was cringing real hard, because y'all know I like to sell items for $20 and over, because I know that I'll be getting a net profit of nothing lower than $15. But since I ran an aggressive sale, things happen. So how I had it worked out on Nifty, which like I said, I changed, they would send out, of course, 10% offers, but then every 30 days they would relist and drop it by 5%. And in August, that made sense, because it's just kind of like, okay, that happened then. But then it would drop another 5% the following month. And then I would send out the 10% offers, and let's say they don't get the 10% offers, they get the 30%. So I just felt like it was too much going on. So I went on and I took, you know, the price drop off. I know that they have recently, you know, given you the option to do 60-day or 90-day relist, but I kind of been liking how the 30-day has been going, because nobody needs 30 days to decide if they want an item, you know? So anyways, moving on to Mercari. Mercari is getting worse. I think my sales are much lower than Depop again on Mercari. Yeah, I can just kind of tell just by this. So instead of the 30 that I typically get on Mercari, it's probably 20 again. So yeah, I just don't know. I feel like I'm just going to leave it where it's at. I'm not going to be doing anything more on Mercari. And then as far as Depop, it's getting better. Like Depop is really, really, really getting good. I really want to get like that blue check, but I had noticed the criteria and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to reach that. Like you have to make over $2,500 a month, I want to say, on Depop. And I don't know if I'm gonna be there. Like maybe by next year I could be, you know, at $2,000 a month. But yeah, that's gonna be. But anyways, yeah, Depop has been doing well. Like y'all know, I went from only making like, you know, happy with 5 to 7 sales, and now I am making over 20 sales. I think it might be more. I don't know the exact number, but let me see. Oh yeah, I actually made it exactly 30 sales on Depop for September, which we absolutely love. So 5 sales a month to now 30 sales a month. We love to see it. But yeah, y'all, that is pretty much all that I have for this video. And let me know how your sales for September have been. Like I said, mine were great. I thought last month was my highest sales month. This one is. September, she put in work with those high dollar sales. But I will see you on the next one.